green. That's the only con.
Oh yeah, a little bit, but I don't know. The sun shining behind you with that suit looks good. I think that just matches.
Appreciate it, man. So here, everybody, as you can see, I'm in the atmosphere. I'm in space.
Oh, he's
No,
out of this world.
right. Now that is one of my goals. You remember the movie Xenon on Disney Channel?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
think
had.
they made like 3 movies.
Yeah, yeah. So like with that movie, one thing I always wanted when they have life in space and you can live up there, I would want to live in space, or I would want to live in the sea. One of the
Oh,
two.
or the sea. Ugh.
Yeah,
Both of those scenarios freak me out because if something goes wrong, like if there's a hole that gets punctured into like your living space or some systems fail, there's nowhere you can go. That you're just stuck there,
I'm not gonna lie.
which would freak me out.
Yeah. It sounds like a good death though. Not drowning,
It would
but
be a cool death. Yeah, how many people can say they uh, died from the thousands of thousands of pounds of force underneath the sea or in the cold, unforgiving space of space?
right. And then I wonder, like, that's probably why I think like everything they say happened in space is fake. Only because like we should be living up there by now. You know what I mean? Like just seeing it. Like it should just be astronauts and people in the science world up there.
There is there's a petition of there's a list of people who want to go live on Mars. I was watching some videos about the time it would take to terraform, I think is the word, terraform Mars to make it into like a breathable living area.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll just take like a long time, I think was the main problem. Like, in like Man of Steel, the General Zod was trying to terraform the Earth, and it was like devastating to like. I think he was trying to like rush the process. So it was like devastating towards like the everyone on Earth.
Mm-hmm. Mm, crazy. All right, guys. As you can see, me and Justin, we got a treat for you guys today. All right. So, as you guys know, I'm in seminary school, and for seminary school, I have to read a lot of books. So all I do for seminary school, which is also called divinity school, which is just me getting my master's of divinity, right? Um, I had to read a lot of books and I had to write a lot of papers, right? And so one of the books I had to read was this book right here, Believing is Seeing, and
Mm.
it's by Michael, I think Gillian or Jillian. I don't know how you would say that, Justin. And then that doesn't help. Yeah, is it reversed on your end, or can you? Is it like
It is reverse on my end, yeah.
okay? Yeah, that is awful. Come on, guys. Technology, man. Let me just share my
I
screen.
think our viewers are smart enough where they can figure out what it says.
Right, but here goes the book again. Now everybody can see
Oh, there it is.
what it is, right? And so, yeah, so the author on one of the pages, it sparked me to do this video. So here goes the question I want to ask everybody. The question is, why does the universe revolve around the sun and not the earth? So why does the universe revolve around the sun and not the earth? Right? And so before I do this video, I want you guys to know on my YouTube channel, Uplift Past Crossroads, me and Justin, we do a whole lot of videos, right? And we got a whole lot of playlists. So every video goes to a playlist, right? Just so you can get your feel of whatever you love on this channel, Uplift Past Crossroads, right? And so one of the playlists I have is book breakdowns and book reviews. So that's what me and Justin are about to do right now. And the book we're focusing on again is Believing in Sin. So I have a playlist for Michael Gillian, Believing in Sin, and then I got a playlist for seminary school. So anything I learned in seminary school will be going in this playlist. I don't know why it's empty right now. I need to fill that out real quick. But all right, but anyways, yeah. So I want you guys to be thinking about this question again. So why does the universe revolve around the sun and not the earth, right? And so I'm gonna start reading excerpts from the book that tailors to what we're going to be talking about today, and it's going to help. Every single thing that we say is all going to come together like a puzzle, right? So let's get to it. So on page 210 of the book Believing in Sin by Michael Gillian, it reads this. It says 500 years ago, people argued about whether the sun or the earth was at the center of the universe. It was a battle between geocentric and heliocentric worldview. We should ask the same question today. Is Your worldview, geocentric or heliocentric?
Mm.
If you and your feelings are at the center of your universe, you have a geocentric worldview. It's a small-minded. It's small-minded because you can't imagine anything bigger or more important than the whole wide world than you and your feelings.
Mm.
I'm gonna keep on reading. So for much of my life, that was exactly my worldview. Growing up in East LA, all I wanted was to become a scientist. That dream was at the very center of my universe. Everything I did, everything I was, revolved around my goal of becoming a scientist. It was my God. That's why when I became a scientist monk at Cornell, I felt I hit the lottery. I was living my dream. Nothing and nobody else mattered to me. In fact, when it seemed my relationship with Laurel was getting serious, I told her straight out, even if we ever do get married, you'll always be second in my life to science.
Ugh,
Yikes.
why?
But that was my reality back then. Everything in my small minded, self centered life revolved around the tiny planet called Michael Jillian. By contrast, people with heliocentric worldviews worship something other than themselves, their feelings, and their dreams. The scientific and Christian worldviews are examples of this because both urge us to cherish selflessness and absolute truth over self centeredness and personal feelings. All right, so that was excerpts from page 210 and 211. Let me go and put that
Mm.
down right here. All right, from the book Believing in Sin by Michael Gillian. Justin, go ahead and stop me if you want to go ahead and say something.
I
But
do like, yeah, I'll jump in real fast.
um,
Just small point because I want you to keep going.
okay.
I like how he said both the scientific and Christian worldviews are supposed to be selfless and outside of yourself.
Hmm.
Because working in the scientific community, it kind of depends on which scientific community you're in. But a lot of times, sometimes I don't see that in the scientific community because maybe a lot of times people will use science to, instead of like testing out, because science is a process. It's not an object. A it's not a tangible thing. It's actually how you test out to see if something is true. Like we could use science to discover biblical things as well. A lot of times I see people abuse science so that they can so they can prove their own point instead of using science to figure out how they can be what is at the actual right thing, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. And
Yeah.
I think people from a biblical standpoint do that easily as well. We weaponize Bible verses a lot. Like during the Civil War, like each side used Bible verses to um, say why slavery was right or why slavery was wrong. So you can twist it any way you want. So I do like how he thinks like a pure aesthetic of a science or religious mind should be something that's beyond ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that. I had a feeling as soon as I read it, I knew you were gonna say something. Because like,
Yeah, powerful stuff. Of course, I would say something.
yeah, that's one of the biggest things Michael Gillian talked about in his book. He was saying that he was saying, with the science community, there's accountability. So you can't just say like something in science, right? Just say you can't just say
Yeah,
anything and everybody has faith in it. No, you have to prove it. It has to be proven,
right. Yeah.
right? And then you have to show through tests, through failures, through everything, just proof. And then it's validated by the rest of the community. Then it's accepted. So you can't just say something and then you just run with it. And that's one of the things he said Christians do a lot of times. They just say
Hmm.
something without ever being held accountable, without, really testing what they really believe,
Mm.
you
Yeah.
know? And that's his whole point. We'll talk about it, in other videos, guys, but like, he was talking about with your worldview, right? So I don't know if you guys picked up on that just from this excerpt, but he was talking about how like you got two different worldviews. You got a heliocentric worldview, and then you got a geocentric worldview. Let me see if I can
Mm.
pull it up. Yeah, heliocentric and geocentric. So he asked, which worldview do you have? And so with the geocentric worldview, that's talking about having a selfish worldview. So let me really break that down. So geocentric means that it's your world, it's only your reality, it's everything revolves around you, it's selflessness. I mean selfishness and self-centeredness, right? So it's only your dreams, only your hopes. So this is all Geocentric's worldview, right? And so the question was at the very beginning of the video. I'm gonna go back to Geocentric, Nick. I'm gonna throw some more stuff out. But the very question that we asked at the very beginning of the video was, why does the universe revolve around the sun and not the earth? And this is what the author talked about in his book, right? He said, I'm gonna read the excerpt again. This is why I wanted to break this down. And this is why I have the background the way that I have it, right? This is why I'm in space right now talking to you, right? So it says 500 years ago, people argued about whether the earth or the sun was at the center of the universe. I'm gonna stop there. You know, people are arguing right now. Is my life more important than their life? Like in your heads, this is what you're saying, right? So I'm gonna go back to what I was saying. What does geocentric mean? Geocentric means, and geocentric worldview means that it's only your dreams that matter, only your hopes, only your desires matter. So it's small mindedness. Does this sound like you? Right? Only your personal feelings, only your emotions matter. Worshiping only yourself and what you want. That's what you're doing when you live selfishly like that, right? So your truth is the only one that matters. Your ideal reality and truth is the truth, right? That's it. That's geocentric worldview. And so it's crazy that God speaks through creation. That's one of the biggest playlists that me and Justin do on my YouTube channel, Uplift Past Crossroads, right here, right? So God speaks through creation. This playlist is amazing. We literally, a lot of times me and Justin just talk about animals, we talk about plants, we talk about things in the universe, how it works and how it's orchestrated and how God is talking to us through it, through everything going on, pointing and glorifying himself and showing how we need him, how great he is, or just for showing his glory in some kind of way that literally is a new revelation about him that we didn't even know, right? And it helps our relationship with him, right? So this is how God speaks through creation. He's talking through creation just with how the sun, everything in the universe, everything revolves around the sun, not only the earth, right? And so it didn't say that the earth, the sun revolves around the earth. No, the earth revolves around the sun. So that's saying a lot to like us, right? Some people's earth, like everything got to revolve around earth, like them, their life, their reality, what they think, their dreams, their hopes. But everything got to revolve around me, right? Is that you? Because that's not the way the world works. Everything revolves around the sun. Life is bigger than just you. It's bigger than just your reality. It's bigger than just your truth. It's bigger than just your dreams. It's bigger than just, what you want, right? And your needs. And that says a lot. That like if the world just picked up on what God was saying with creation, like and how it's working, it would be crazy, right? I think everybody would love each other and be more sympathetic. That's the real way of saying it. We were real more. They'd be more sympathetic and empathetic towards other people and what they're struggling with, right? Because I remember, just let's go back to 2020, right? I lost 110,000 followers for saying anything about social justice stuff, right? And in saying that, I had one person comment and tell me, I'm trying to say it exactly like they said it. Let me think about it. Just I'll let you talk. I know you got something. Let me think about what they said. I want to say it.
Yeah. If you let's see, I'll wait. I'll wait to say some stuff. I'll try to piggyback on you. But yeah, it's we definitely live in a culture where the problem is it's so easy to still be focused on ourselves and still be fine. Like back then, like we needed to depend on other people, like survival was like depending on others was required for survival. And if like you weren't part of the agenda, like you would get left and your and then your family line would stop at you. But it's like but nowadays like it's so easy for us to like do our own thing and still survive and think it's fine, but we don't realize like the detriment that could happen of having a geocentric worldview or thinking it's all about me, because there are less consequences, I guess, for our actions. But for heliocentric worldview, eventually people do see like they can't, there is a glass ceiling, like they can't go much further without um, without collaborating with people or without having a heliocentric worldview. And I'll bring some science into it. Like the reason planets revolve around the sun, why there's a heliocentric system, is because the sun is massive. It has such a strong gravitational pull that nothing can escape it. Like all the planets are revolving around it because they're drawn to the sun. Same with like a maybe a religious or scientific worldview. Like a system that's so much bigger than you, of course, is going to drown out anything you might have to add. Like you can contribute a little bit, but you're not going to turn it on its head. Like it's something that's so much bigger than you.
Mm.
So people who might have a geocentric view, they can backstab or screw over other people for themselves, but they realize that's like you don't get very far. Funny thing is, I was actually watching the it was a psychological analysis of the MCU villain Loki,
Mhm.
and it's actually I never noticed, but he does get screwed over like a lot because he tries to screw over other people. Like lots of people think he's cunning and smart
Mm.
and he's ambitious, but you realize he doesn't accomplish a whole lot until like I won't spoil anything until like towards the end in the TV show where he starts to do things not for himself, when he starts to develop a heliocentric worldview. And that's the same in real life as well. If you make it all about me, like me is all that's going to be left. There's not going to be anyone else.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, so like I asked everybody at the very beginning of the video this question, right? The question was, why does the universe revolve around the sun and not the earth? And Justin gave one of the many reasons. He said that the gravitational pull, like everything's really catered to the gravitational pull of the sun. So I want to say it like I read. It says that the sun's gravitational pull holds the planets in orbit. So without the sun's gravitational pull, everything in every planet in
Mm,
the universe would just be moving endlessly
yeah.
and have no order. Like it would just be chaotic. It would just be moving. So obviously they would probably hit one another, or they would just move so frequently, so often, so endlessly that it just doesn't do anything. I don't know, but
Mm,
like it's just
mm,
no set course, right? No order. Just continue to move forward with you know, no set course, right? That's the best way to put it. So that is awful. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So, yeah, that's just one of the benefits of having the sun. Like, it basically keeps everything in order. That's God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so every time I think of the sun, I think about the sun, like Jesus Christ, right? I
mm.
think
Oh yeah,
about
yeah.
yeah, I think about how like Superman, like Superman's my favorite superhero of all time. So for me, just so you guys know me better, like Kobe Bryant and Superman are my two favorite like sports people and comic book people of all time. Like I know everything about Superman, I know everything about Kobe Bryant. So
Mhm.
like with Superman, the sun, his power comes from the sun. When he's the closer he is to the sun, the more power he can generate, the stronger he gets. Like he's at full capacity. Like the
Mm,
sun's kind of like his battery charger. Like it's more than a battery charger. It's like the outlet, like that charges him up to give him more power, make him stronger. Like it fuels him, right? So even when he's weak, even when he's dead, like if the sun hits him, that's all he needs to like generate
mm.
more power, more energy, more everything. Like
Right.
same thing for like all of Earth. Like let's just talk about it because Justin already went there. So without the sun's heat and light, so solar energy, life on Earth would not exist. Right? There
Mm.
wouldn't be any plants, animals, and people. There would be no other form of life then. Right?
It would be a frozen rock just drifting in space.
Right. And so that's another thing too. So without heat from the sun, Earth would freeze. Right. So there would be no winds, ocean currents, or clouds to transport water. Right. We can't live without water. Right. We also can't live without plants because animals and humans need plants for food, and the oxygen that plants produce,
Mm.
right? So H2O and oxygen, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the sun does a lot of things, right? It just doesn't just do one thing, and that's the whole point. All of life, every planet, everything in the universe revolves around the sun. So the sun's doing so many things. Sun has a lot of responsibilities.
Mm.
Photosynthesis. If you do research on photosynthesis, the way it works from plants in the sun and how it connects back to us, right? So like it's doing so many things, like the sun, like that, and it's accomplishing so many responsibilities for not just human beings, but for other animals and other plants and other life in the whole universe. Who even knows, right? So the sun does so much stuff that it's like way bigger than what we can imagine or think, right? Like even right now, we didn't say everything that the sun does. It does a lot, and that's the whole point that the author is trying to say. So I'm gonna go back to some excerpts from the book because like this is like the Bible right now, right? So the book again is "Believing and Seeing." It's by
Mm.
Michael Gillian or Gillian. I don't know how to say his name, but yeah. So let me go back to the page 210. He said 500 years ago, people argued about whether the Earth or Sun was at the center of the universe. This was an argument. This was an argument, guys. Like this is an argument today, even in some of our hearts, some of our lives. Like, does life revolve around me, or does life revolve around everybody? Right? Or the sun revolve around everybody. You guys know what I'm saying? So it was a battle between geocentric and heliocentric worldview. We should ask the same question today: is your worldview geocentric or heliocentric? Okay, I'm gonna stop there. So, what kind of worldview do you have? Do you have a self-centered, all about me type of
Mm.
mindset? Let me go. Let me really break that down. I tried to say it earlier and give an example. So in 2020, George Floyd happened. Black Lives Matter, a failed civil rights movement. All right, but anyways, um, yeah, so that happened, right? So I had some people from my high school, it was T.J. Stevens and Kenny Cutler. I think that was their names. I think that's his name. I can't remember. It was so long. Went to high school and middle school with these guys, and like everybody knows from my childhood, I'm very confident in saying this because everybody knows me. Like nobody can ever say I was a bad guy. Nobody can ever say like I wasn't likable. I was Troy Bolton of my high school. So if you guys ever seen High School Musical, that's how I was. Like literally, I played basketball, but I wanted to sing. Like I didn't want to sing.
My wife thinks American schools were like High School Musical before she actually came over here,
Yeah. Well,
so she believed that.
right. Yeah. So like that was my life, guys. That's the best way to describe it. Right. So yeah, man. Like, and I had them to tell me about my life, like everything I went through, everything I ever experienced. This is what life is like for me for a black person. And they're white. And they ain't talked to me since high school. Like, or like we ain't even talked that much. You know what I mean? I drunk a few times with TJ Stevens in high school. That's it. Like probably twice. Like drunk beer, at 17. So but like, yeah, like I did that with him, King Cutler. I played football and basketball with him. But those two had the audacity, the gall to tell me what life was like for me. Like, no, you don't know. Like, that was a geocentric worldview. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they think all realities revolve around their reality.
Mm.
Everybody's life is just like their life. And I'm not gonna say every white person think that, but there's a lot of white people. And I would even say black people. They do that with white people. I China just did it just now. Black people assume
Mm.
every white person's like this. White people
Yeah, that,
assume.
that would be generalizing, which is something
Right.
we not to do in a video.
Right. So, but you guys get what I'm saying? Like, life's bigger than just what you think and how you think it should work and everything like that. So, your thoughts, your worldview, your political views, what you want, your needs, your logic, your mindset, life's bigger than that. Right. So, not everybody needs to have the same logic, political views, or mindset that you have. Right. Life's bigger than just you for a reason. This is
Mm.
what this Arthur is saying, man. Let me go back. That's the two questions, is your worldview geocentric or heliocentric? And let me talk about heliocentric. What does that look like? Right? So with a heliocentric worldview, that means that you have selflessness. You're worshiping something that's bigger than yourself. It's bigger than your feelings. And it's bigger than your own dreams and what you hope for. So a heliocentric worldview is imagining anything bigger and more important in the whole wide world than you and your feelings. So essentially, a heliocentric worldview is absolute truth over self-centered and personal feelings. So, do you have a heliocentric worldview? And I would venture to say very few people have a heliocentric worldview. And
Mm.
I would even say, again, nobody's Jesus. Nobody's perfect. We all got stuff we got to work on. So I
Mm.
would guarantee some of us have a geocentric worldview, so a selfish mindset when it comes to certain views. So I would even say political views, right? Or when it comes to certain types of logic, like when it comes to, the science and Christianity go together, or does God have anything to do with sex? You know what I mean? Because I made a statement last time during seminary school class last semester. My teacher, we had to read a book on an author was comparing having the Holy Spirit to, I'm just gonna say it, to an orgasm, right? And
Oh
like she
yeah.
was comparing it to sex. And to some people, that's a stumbling block. And I get it. I get it. So some
Yeah.
you have to keep sex in the bed, right? But that's a Christian thing to do. But where we're heading towards is no, we need to talk about it. But that's a stumbling block. You can't have it both ways, right? But you guys get what I'm
Mm.
saying. Like you can't be afraid to go there, but you just got to go there at the right time. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like, that's
Yeah.
real balance. So, but that's a heliocentric worldview. Like at least being able to go there, not being small-minded, not being narrow-minded, right, or bigoted.
Mm.
And so, yeah, there's just so much to say with that. Just I'm gonna let you go, and then we're gonna talk about the books and whatnot.
Yeah. I think it's I do want to like talk about the history of the geocentric theory as well, because I feel like that ties in. Like we think like maybe even the Christian view, like even Christian view is supposed to be like the heliocentric view, or it's like the right view. And you are
Mm,
right, like God is always the right view, but the people may not be. Like to get put that in perspective, 500 years ago, it was the church that was arguing that everything revolved around the earth. Because like why would God create the universe and not put people or not put his creation in the center?
mm,
Um and the funny thing is uh the the theory of a heliocentric model was first proposed by uh Copernicus. I think Copernicus, but he didn't go super public about it because of the church. The person who fought over a heliocentric view was Galileo. And of course, like the thing is, he was also a believer in God. He was also he studied like astronomy. I almost said astrology. He studied astronomy and science because he marveled at the creation God had created, but he also saw that the science and the math supported a heliocentric theory. So like he was put under house arrest. He was like punished for his views, saying it was against God. And
mm,
it's like again, it's like even if people are proclaiming like they're for God or for science, like you got to be really careful about to make sure that they're not just making about themselves as well. Like the church felt threatened back during that time. I know some scientists who feel threatened if I bring up any religious discussions or something like that. Like they'll bring up Darwin right away, and I never even started a conversation on evolution or anything. I
yeah.
remember I literally just said, "Yeah, I think historical documents support the existence of a historical Jesus," which they do, and for
Hmm.
some reason that must have meant I wanted to talk about evolution and Darwin and how that trumps God or whatever. I don't even know. But it's that just shows like people will like try to make it about themselves. So you do like it's not just enough to say you believe in God, because like the Bible even says demons believe there is a God or believe that there is Jesus. But they're afraid of him. They're not actually following them. So we can easily say that, yeah, we believe in God and we believe in Jesus. Man, I'm seeing so many. It's almost campaign season. Oh gosh, it's 2024 already.
Right.
I've already seen campaigns, like terrible campaigns, like Trump. Like he's running again, of course, and his campaign is like, um, we need to bring God back into the system, which I would love to see that. But like, is he the best person to do that? Like, I remember one person asking, man, Trump is the most geocentric person, like politician that I can name off the top of my
Uh-huh.
head. I remember one time someone was asking, oh, so what's your favorite Bible verse? And he's just like, oh, well, the Bible, it's just like a great book. It's the best book ever written. And he never gave a straight answer. So it makes me
Yeah.
question if he's read it or not. But
Uh-huh.
that's just an example of how people can make it about them. Um, and I don't know. I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole, but there's so many examples of people using a good cause or using God or science for their own agenda. I think I've said it before. Like, um, I'll say it since Sean mentioned it. Black Lives Matter. Like, uh, there was just too many. There were too many killings of black people. Um, too much police violence. I'm not saying let's get rid of the police. I hate when people say that, but there did need to be some accountability against all the police brutality that was happening.
Yeah.
But something that I hate is like there were people, they were like discount Martin Luther King Jr.'s who were saying, "Oh, follow us." Like, well, we'll get what we need, but they ended up stealing money. They ended up like abusing people who charity by saying that they'll do something. And I hate that they took a legitimate thing and then put their own agenda on. So I don't know. It's You will see people like that all the time as well. Like, take the good name of God, take a good name of like a cause that the society needs, and then just like use it, make it about them, but make it look like a heliocentric view, if that
Right.
makes sense.
So before we even did this video, you already heard about heliocentric and geocentric before in the science community.
Oh yeah.
So that's something you guys just talk about all the time and discuss.
Oh no, it's not something we talk about all the time. It was just studies.
Okay. So
And
I, yeah,
funny enough, I learned about the church opposing Galileo in history class.
okay. Crazy man. Yeah, I had a feeling like that's why I wanted to do videos with you on this book,
Oh
man.
yeah, I'm glad I can like flex my science knowledge on some of our religious videos.
Yeah. And,
Man, man, like God created science. It's a thing of beauty that we have to discuss more, in my opinion.
right. And that's what the author says. So I'm gonna keep on reading some excerpts because it's gonna talk about that. I'm gonna break it
Yeah.
down.
Sorry if
Now,
I got too political there, though.
no, man, like that's the whole point though, because like I don't care where you go, like where you fall in politically or what your views are. Like life's bigger than you and what you want.
Yeah.
And the question we got to ask ourselves: this is how you know you got a heliocentric worldview. The question we got to ask ourselves is: if you got everything you wanted, would it hurt other people? So if you literally got everything you wanted, like all your dreams came true, would it hurt other people? Would it affect other people in a negative way? Because that's probably why not everything happens that you want to happen. That's probably why God has everything function in the way that He does. Like the sun doesn't do everything that you want it to do. There's times where I can't stand the sun personally. I wish the sun didn't exist because it blinds me so much. Like for example, at the very beginning when it starts rising, which I never drive, 'cause I'm never up that early. But at 4 p.m., 5 p.m. Central Time in Nashville, Tennessee, at least, that's the worst time to drive for me because in the summertime, by the way, not in the winter. Like at that time, the sun's starting to go down. So like
Mm.
as soon as you're driving, like literally, the sun is right there
Oh
in
yeah.
your
I
in
hate
your
that.
view. Like in your windshield. Like I can't see. I put down
Nothing.
the visor.
Can't put your visor. No, the visor doesn't reach it. No.
Right, because it's right there in front of your face. Like I hate driving at that time. And I've never even said this on YouTube. It's so funny. When I was a kid, I used to be at my grandparents' house all the time. My dad's parents. I call them Good Mommy and Good Daddy. And my good mom used to always like having up the blinds. So that's what I like doing. So when I get my own place, I'm definitely gonna have the blinds up all the time. And not up, but just open, right? So the sun can just flash, and I have light and I don't have to waste, the electricity bill and stuff like that. But
That's yeah.
right, but it comes with a con, like the sun will be shining down on you. So there was times where literally I'm sitting down in the room watching Blue's Clues trying to draw with Steve, and the sun be shining in my freaking face, and I'd be like, "You stupid sun! Nobody likes you. You shine on people when you shouldn't shine. Like, go somewhere else where you're wanted." I would curse the sun, and so yeah, like, but that's my whole point. Like the sun, it does stuff and it's necessary even when you probably wouldn't agree with it. Same thing for the way life works. Like this is the whole point. Life's bigger than you, what you think. Like God is doing a lot. And the sun proves that. Like the sun is showing us God is speaking through creation as to what he's doing just through the sun. Like I told you guys, the sun does a lot of things in creation. Every single day, 4 centuries since God created the sun, right? We don't even know half the stuff the sun did for a certain animal that lived in, Jesus's time period, that little bunny rabbit in Nazareth. I don't know if there was bunny rabbits in Nazareth, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like the sun is always at work. It's always moving. It's always doing something, right? Helping a tree grow, helping a new flower to blossom. I don't know. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like the sun's always doing something behind the scenes that you ain't really worried about, you ain't focused about because you live in your own little world. And that's the whole point of the video. The video's titled Life Does Not Revolve Around You. Life's bigger than just you. Having a geocentric worldview. Like, it's pathetic. Let me read this excerpt. And Justin, go ahead. If you want to stop me, just go ahead. All right. So this one says, if you and your feelings are at the center of your universe, it's your universe. That is so sad. Are you just living in your universe, or are you living in the actual universe? And this is what the author was talking about in his book, Believing in Sin. He was saying that everybody has a worldview. You either have an ideal worldview or you have an actual worldview. Ideal worldview is literally you in a geocentric worldview. Like life works like this. For white people, like this is how some white people think. Every black person is a thug. Every black person is a riot person. Every black person is stupid. Like that's a geocentric worldview. Not every black person is the same. Same thing for white people. I mean, black people. White people. I can't even think right now because I don't really think like that. But you see what I'm saying? Like white people, black people thinking every white man's out to get them. Like every white man is bad. Every white man is a colonist and is, trying to get after us. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You can't live so narrow-minded. It messes up your blessings. Justin just said that. Justin, I want you to elaborate on that some more. Like you talk about Loki, how he had like his worldview changed and then everything changed around him. That's what the author said in this book. We're gonna talk about it. But in this book, Believing in Sin by Michael Gillian, and he's like a famous news anchor scientist dude. Like he's famous. I don't know him. You probably know him, right? But he was saying that with a geocentric worldview, it's the dream. That's what he said later on in the book. We're going to talk about it for sure. He said it's just a dream. A heliocentric worldview is your destiny. You can't get to your destiny unless you're willing to forsake your dreams, like what you want and what you think, like your limited mindset. He said in his book, I'm going to read it, but he said, and I already read it, he said that, I want to be a scientist. Science was my God. But then he figured out his destiny because he was willing to see something bigger, something greater than what he wanted, than what he thought was right? Than what, than his small little world and his little reality that he wanted. No, he started living for something that's bigger and more important than just what his wants and needs were. This is how you can do great things in the world. This is how, actual change that can benefit everybody happens, is if you can see the bigger picture, right? That God's trying to do on the earth and what the sun is actually doing. Let's go back to that. God speaking through creation, right? Because what does the Bible say? The Bible said, that my ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. The way I do things ain't the way you do them. That's what God said in like Isaiah. So same thing goes for in this situation, right? Like the sun, does it do what you want it to do? No. Does it do what you tell it to do? No. Because if that happened, it would hurt other people, right? And we talked about what will life look like without the sun, right? It would become chaos. There would be no order. It would be, that's the best way to put it. Like, what else was I gonna say? If the sun didn't exist, one thing we always say on my YouTube channel is that if the sun was too close to us, we would burn to death. If the sun was too far away from us, we would freeze to death. It's like the earth is in the perfect spot in the orbit around the sun.
Yeah.
The perfect spot. For how long? How many centuries has been? How many years has been? It's been a long time. And this is what God does. Is it gonna stop doing that? No, not until God wants it to not do it no more, or until humanity ruins it for everybody. Because I think we can do that. You see what I'm saying?
We're getting there, yeah.
Right, like from how we live and stuff. But just I'll let you go ahead. I'm gonna keep on reading the excerpt.
Yeah, I do like that. How there's just like evident, because I was reading the beginning of his book as well,
Okay.
and that really struck with how you were saying there's evidence for like God's plan or God's create of God in creation, because we've discussed on this channel before. There are two types of revelation from God: general revelation and special revelation. Of course, special revelation is you see a burning bush, you hear God, you see an angel. But general revelation is just looking out into the world and knowing that there's something had to create it. It's like walking along the beach and seeing a sandcastle, and you kind of have to know someone built that sandcastle. And I think the author, Gillen, the author of the book, was also showing like he tried to have a very geocentric view, but all of the evidence, all of his observations showed that it's a very limited, very small minded way to view. And while heliocentric, actually looking at the connections of other people, seeing how everything is connected, seeing how everything lives in harmony. Like he was a science person. He probably believed in like string theory, how everything is connected on a quantum scale. So just having a very small-minded view of just for yourself, or just believing that this is all there is, just what our eyes see, is so limited, because it doesn't give credit to what are the forces behind nature, or what are the forces that created this harmony to begin with. And same with how we interact with people. Like it's very easy to tell, like if you have a geocentric or me centered view, like people are not going to want to hang out with you. So you'll eventually only be loved by yourself. But observations show that, even from an evolutionary standpoint, like they showed that, through simulation after simulation, like team building or cooperation were necessary parts to build tribes or to build civilizations. Because without those, like there would be too much competition. There would be, um, like people would kill each other off or tear each other down, where it just wouldn't function. Like it's not possible. So like I like how that chapter in the book notices that he gathered that view because of evidence. Like this is how the world works. Like you may think, oh, if like it's a dog eat dog world, I have to take care of myself. That works for a little while, but like, or like I'll bring up Loki again. Like if you look at Loki, you think he pulls the wool over other people's eyes, but that only lasts for so long before he gets defeated by everybody. So you have to adopt a style where, how can I invite people into my life? How can I collaborate with them? How can I make it where the world doesn't just revolve around me? And Terry Phillips, the guy who officiated our wedding, put it like a really good way as well when we were doing like a premarital counseling. He was saying that, um, if you if you like make it about yourself, or if you show disapproval in somebody else because they're doing something you don't like, that's science has kind of shown, like psychological studies have shown, like if you are trying to change somebody, they're going to resist that change. They're going to resist that change a little bit more. But if you are accepting of someone and encouraging of someone, they'll actually like evolve and they'll grow on themselves, because like they feel that love. They want to grow because of that love. Um, which seems almost paradoxical. I think there was a book called Real Love. I forgot who the author was. He called it like a paradox, because a lot of us think that if we just accept people for who they are, that wouldn't influence them to change. But it's actually the opposite. If we accept people and we're encouraging and we're loving towards somebody, like they will want to grow on their own.
Mm,
Like same with like it's watering a flower. It's like you have to like give it water and nutrients for it to grow, and it will grow itself. Okay,
very
I'll
good.
stop there because I feel like I'm going down a rabbit hole.
Nah, you're good. You're good, man. I forgot what I was gonna say, but I'm gonna read the excerpts now. I remember. So here goes the excerpts again from the book. So this is still page 210 of Michael Gillian's book. Believing in Sin, right here. Good book. All right. So he said, if you and your feelings are at the center of your universe, you are a geocentric. You have a geocentric worldview. It's small-minded because you can't imagine anything bigger or more important than the whole wide world than you and your feelings. So there's so much more things that are bigger and better and more important than the whole wide world than just your feelings and your emotions. So do you operate like that? That's the question. Like, this is going back to the question at the very beginning of the video. Is your worldview geocentric or heliocentric? And this is how you know if it is. Like, what your goals and your ambitions and your purpose, whatever you want to call it, your destiny, right? Like, do you even know what your destiny is? Do you even know what your purpose is? But either way it goes, like what you want to do in this world, what do you want to do for work, anything like that, right? Like, what are your goals this year or in 10 years or something like that? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I don't care. Like, anything like that, right? Is it for everybody else? Is it for the betterment of everybody else, or is it just for yourself? Are you testing a button? Because, like,
Oh, oh! Every time I lift up my hand, it gives me a thumbs up. That's pretty cool.
well, don't do that for me.
Oh,
why you? Why does it work for you but not me?
I don't know. It's not working now.
Maybe because I'm doing it.
The thing was, I wasn't even giving a thumbs up. I just lifted up my hand. I'm sorry. Keep going.
You made me think about what if you stick out your middle finger? what will it do?
Sure, they don't have a middle finger emoji in this.
I don't know, man. We live in a weird time period now. But
Ugh,
anyways, guys, yeah, you get
ugh.
it, man. Like, I don't even want to repeat myself, but so many people got a small-minded mindset. Justin, I'll let you talk if you want, but I'm gonna keep on reading these excerpts so we can finish up the video.
Yeah, if you want to keep going, I'll add on to it.
All right, yeah, and it's crazy. It's crazy that you even remember the beginning of the book, man. Like, he read that when we were in San Juan, Puerto Rico, Christmas Eve. The night, December 19th to 24th. So it's almost been a month, since then, and you still remember reading the book, man.
Oh yeah, like I can retain more stuff if I read it.
Yeah,
I guess
crazy.
I'm just a visual learner.
Uh huh. Yeah, so again, on page 210, it reads this, continuing. It says, for much of my life, that was exactly my worldview. It was small minded, geocentric, only what my feelings and my emotions, what I want. That's what he's saying. So growing up in East LA, all I wanted was to become a scientist. That's all he wanted. That dream was at the very center of my universe. So being a scientist, again, everything I did, everything I was revolved around my goal of becoming a scientist. It was my God. Wow. One thing, Justin, I've been realizing, I gotta talk some more, but sometimes you don't even need to talk to people, because what God puts on your heart is for you. What your purpose, your calling is for you. It's not for anybody else. So, like, people will talk you out of the vision that God gave you or what He's calling you to do. So for me, I really feel like I probably shouldn't do board examiners anymore or try to get my ordination through the AME church, only because, like, I feel like I'm making it my God, like my ministry and stuff, not trying to be a preacher and everything like that. because at the end of the day, family comes first. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
I have to worry about getting a house. I have to worry about taking care of Maya. Like I'm about to make her my wife. Like
yeah.
she comes first. And then when we have kids, they come first. You know what I mean? Like they nothing else tops that.
Mm,
Not even my ministries. And
mm.
they, my ministries mean a lot to me. I know you know how much my social media
Oh
page means
yeah.
to me.
Oh yeah. You put so much effort into it.
And that's another thing too. My social media page, I already got a ministry. Like that's it. What's the AME church got to do with that? You know what I mean? Like what? How can? I mean, I know
Mm,
how I can help them, but are they gonna let me? Like, because right now it's not like that. You know what I mean? So it's just like, what's the point? But you get what I'm saying, man. Like for everybody, we can't. And he was saying it like with relationships, like what Terry told him. But for everybody, you can't live in a way that just like forgets everybody else. Like I'm gonna get mine. I'm gonna get what I want, because that comes with a price. It comes at a detriment, a huge one. And I could use Steve Jobs as an example. Like Steve Jobs, his kids don't really know him too well. Like they know him, but
mm,
like, and I don't want to speak for them because I don't know their dad
yeah.
like they know their dad. But I just know from his book, he said like he could have been a better dad because basically he wasn't there when he should have been there. Like he was focusing more on work, and that's why he is as great as he is because he had to forsake his raising his kids, forsake
Yeah.
pouring into them, giving them the time that they need. Like he wasn't a family guy like that. I mean, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. We know the turtleneck. Apple. Like everybody got an iPhone. Team iPhone, by the way. But like, it comes at a price. Is it worth it? And I would even say Kobe. Kobe's a good example too, because he had to figure out a balance. Because even with his teammates, like when he first got to the league, Kobe Bryant wanted nothing to do with nobody. Like his teammates wanted to hang out with him and stuff, but they already knew he's only basketball, basketball only. Then he went back to family. That's it. Like he didn't do nothing else. Then later on in his career, when he started, I think it was after the Dream Team. I mean the Redeem Team. So when he played with Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Tayshaun Prince. So when he played on that team, the Redeem Team was called the Redeem Team in 2008, I think, in the Olympics for basketball, because in 2004 and 2000 we didn't do too good, in the basketball Olympics. America, Team USA, yeah. So the Redeem Team was called the Redeem Team because everybody was playing LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, Carmelo Anthony. Those names alone, that's a Redeem Team. That means America's coming for y'all butts. Like, and it was Kobe. Kobe was going off. Like he was scoring 60, 50. He was going 40. He like in that time period, 2007, 2006, 2008, Kobe would not score less than 35, 40. I had never watched a game where he scored less than 40. I never. And that means he's going off, right? So like in the Olympics, they're already thinking like he's gonna be selfish and stuff, but he couldn't be like that. Because he had a whole team like he wanted. So he had to play different. So he
Mm,
plays different, but Kobe was still Kobe, right? So the Black Mamba. But anyways, yeah, as you guys can see, I'm excited about talking about Kobe. But yeah, Kobe, like he had to figure out a balance, basically. That's the best way to describe it. Like he couldn't be all kill, like mean, especially that at that point, because that was coming at a point where he was a bit older. He was getting close to the age of 30. And like 2008, when he entered the Olympics for the Redeem Team. So like everybody idolized him because they grew up watching him. So like he had a different role now. He wasn't chasing nothing. He's already one of the greatest. He's already at the top of the league. He is the Michael Jordan of our generation, right? So
mm,
like, yeah, now he's more of like a figure, like an idol, like somebody to get advice from and everything like that. So he opened up more. And I think that's what it took, all that stuff, all those circumstances. So like, yeah, everybody. All I'm saying is everybody got to figure out a balance. Like, it's
mm,
okay to have goals. It's okay to chase dreams, but your dreams don't trump family. It don't trump love. It don't trump everybody else. That you're
yeah.
as a Christian. Let's just talk about Christians. You know what? Oh, dang, I don't even want to go there, but we might as well. At the very last excerpt of the book, and that's the first thing Justin talked about, is the science community and Christian community and their worldviews, right? But in the Christian community, man, we know what comes first. Right? Are we called to,
We
you
should.
know, are we called to strive for what we want? You know, live for ourselves? Like, are you kidding me? Did Jesus do? Jesus didn't even do that, and he set the tone of what we're supposed to do. That's Philippians 2. Like one thing I've been learning. So this new class I'm in Introduction to the New Testament. I don't know why I got to take that class. I'm living it. I already know it. That's all I'm accustomed to in the church. But it's still a class we got to take for seminary. But anyways, Introduction to the New Testament. Um, it's obvious. I know it's the New Testament. I feel like, but New Testament is all about Jesus. That's all the New Testament is. It's either it doesn't talk about his early life really. It just talks
No.
about his ministry. It talks
Yeah.
about post Easter and pre Easter. That's what they call it. Right? I didn't even know that was a thing, but it is. Like they talk about like the life of Jesus and his ministry and how it affected everybody in of all time, right? And how it related to the Old Testament. So if you didn't think that the New Testament relates to the Old Testament, it does. Like all the writings, all the books in the New Testament were all like created and assembled in a way that we have it now because it related to the Old Testament. All the rest of the books that aren't in the Bible that we have today, they're not in there because it doesn't really hit on like the Old Testament canon and writings and stuff like that. So yeah, but like just with Jesus, Philippians 2, let's go back to that. Like, we're not called to live selfishly, strive for our own ambitions. No, we're called to forsake ourselves, to deny ourselves, to take up our cross and walk. Like, take up our cross. What do you think that means? Like, it means to die daily, like to suffer. Like, we're called to see Philippians 2. We're called to think that other people are better than ourselves. Like, that's really hard to say. And that's not saying that you think that you're lesser than anybody or like to feel like you're inferior. Is that the word? To feel like you're inferior,
Yeah.
anything like that, or to have no self-esteem. It has to be a balance. You think Jesus had no self-esteem?
Mm.
No, he had all the self-esteem in the world. Like to
Yeah.
not
But it's
bring
where
it down.
he had confidence, but it depended on
Right.
where he placed that confidence in.
Yeah, like so, man, we're called to live like and cherish selflessness, just like Jesus. Like that's the Christian worldview. Like to really to come together, be united, despite our differences, despite our arguments and stuff like that. Like the disciples, did they get along? Did all of them get along? No, they did not. But they still worked together. They had to. All they had was each other. Like this was the beginning stages of the church. There was no church. Like this was when they're trying to figure it out. Like this Holy Spirit thing when Jesus died. Like they didn't know. Even when Jesus was there, they still trying to figure it out. He was trying to teach them and everything. So it was new, right? And so, man, it's just so much with that. And Justin, I know you got something. I'm gonna stop. But
Yeah, I think like there is, man, you said so many things. You
yeah.
just need a good balance on. I think I remember my motorcycle ministry, like we have different levels of what we prioritize. It's like God, God, family, work, and then motorcycles. Like we tried not to, like we knew the importance of our motorcycle ministry, but we tried not to put it above the important stuff.
Mm,
And I think, yeah, I do think like you can still have a heliocentric worldview, but still like take care of yourself or still like treat yourself well, because like gosh, I feel like we've done videos about this as well. It's like if you don't have, like, it all starts with you. You can't take care of others unless you take care of yourself first, and that's not in a selfish way. It's just you're taking care of what God has given you. You are honoring the temple and body and mind that God has given you. If anything, you're taking care of yourself because you love what God has given you. And we've talked about in videos before, like I do love the phrase that Sean brought up in a video: hurt people. Like if you can't, usually if you can't forgive somebody, or if you are critical about somebody, it's because you don't have the courage to forgive yourself, or you're too critical in yourself. Like it all starts from you. You might be projecting something. So yeah, there's a good balance of like you do need to take care of others. You do need to take care of your family. You do need to take care of people that God has put you in your life. But to do that, you also have to take care of yourself. Um, so yeah, there's a good balance, and every every emotion that's related with yourself, there is a place for it as well. I was watching another video on like healthy masculinity versus like toxic or limiting masculinity. And of course, there are healthy traits like you want to be strong, you want to be protective, but those can turn negative into like if you do it too far or in a negative way, it can be like controlling or um, don't like you're not coachable, you don't take advice. So there's always an opposite side of the coin. And I think it is important for us to be aware that we can be confident without arrogant, as long as we know. Like the difference is like where do you put that confidence? As Sean was saying, like Jesus had self-esteem because he had confidence in God. I was watching a competition, and one guy was just saying he can walk down with no fear because like he has confidence in God. He's given that responsibility of the outcome to God. That doesn't mean he doesn't work for it, but it just means he's not fretting over it. So he has that confidence, but he's not arrogant. Arrogant is when your confidence is just in yourself. So yeah, there's a positive and negative. Like every emotion, every like inside out, like sadness. Like you don't want to be crying when every little bad thing happens, but by showing sadness in situations, you do invite opportunity for like empathy or connection. So there are positive and negatives to everything. Just because you are confident about something, though, does not necessarily mean that you're forsaking a heliocentric worldview.
Mm.
It just means you are taking care of yourself so that you can take care of other people.
Yeah, man, this is deep, man. Let me finish
Oh
the
yeah.
video, man.
Oh, we just hit the hour marker too.
Right. So that's what I'm gonna just finish out. So for this part, yeah. Here go another question. What dream is at the center of your universe? Right. What dream is at the center of your universe? Does it revolve around and does it bless and benefit everybody, or does it just benefit you? Right. Because if it does just benefit you, that's a problem. Like God, your life is so much bigger than just you know you, right? Life doesn't revolve around you. This is why I asked everybody at the very beginning of the video, why does the sun revolve around the earth and the earth doesn't revolve around the sun? Right? And this is why. God speaking through creation. So that's why when I became a scientific monk at Cornell, I felt I hit the lottery. I was living my dream. Nothing and nobody else mattered to me. That is very important. Let me highlight that. Nothing and nobody else mattered to me. In fact, when it seemed my relationship with Laura was getting serious, I told her straight out, even if we ever get married, you'll always be second in my life to science. Yikes. But
Gosh.
that was my reality back then. Is that your reality?
How did she still marry him? Man, I hope he changed before they got married.
Oh,
Because
he
I
did.
he would have married him.
So if you kept on reading the introduction, you would have seen it.
Oh, I missed it, yeah.
He said that with him, he met Laurel in college, like when he was getting his doctoral. Everybody already knew he was the scientific dude. Like, you wanted anything about science, want to know anything, you go to him. He was the science guru. Like, everybody knew he was on a whole nother level. He went to like Cornell and Harvard or something like that. So he's super smart. So, yeah, like he met Laurel. I think she was one of his students at one point, or was just coming in or something.
Mm.
And she said, can we study or something like that? Long story short, they were studying with each other or something like that. And she said, you ever want to learn about the Bible or anything? And he was like, yeah, but like he talked about his background and how his parents tried to force it on him, and they saw science as like the devil's work and stuff. And obviously, from his studying and research, that ain't what he got, and I don't get that either. Justin don't get that either. Like you
Yeah.
actually do research on it, right? A God speaks through creation. Why does the earth revolve around us? Why does the earth revolve around the sun and the sun doesn't revolve around the earth? All right, you guys gonna say. So, like science speaks, but like to his parents it was stupid. So this is what deterred him from the church and everything like that. But then Laurel said, let's just read the Bible. Let's try it out. Let's try it for ourselves. And that's what led him to seeing that science and God go together. Or like you can't just have a geocentric worldview, just like looking at your reality. I mean, the book is titled Believing is Seeing for a Reason. Like, dude, it's titled that because like life's bigger than just what you see. It's bigger than just what you are accustomed to. It's bigger than just, your own reality. There's so much more going on, and that's what that's what he realized through science. But not a lot of scientists discover that.
Mm.
Actually,
Yeah.
majority of them don't, because they don't go deeper. Actually, they don't accept the unknowns. They don't accept the uncertainties. They don't accept not having proof, which is something we're going to talk about a lot from his book. So, like, yeah, let me go back to this. And Justin, I know you got something because this is deep, but so even if I we ever did get married, you'll always be second in my life to science. Yikes! But that was my reality then. That was his reality then. He said everything in my small-minded, self-centered life revolved around the tiny planet of what he wanted. Michael Gilliam. By contrast, people with heliocentric worldviews worship something other than themselves, their feelings, and their dreams. The scientific and Christian worldview are examples of this because both urge us to cherish selfishness and absolute truth over self-centeredness and personal feelings. All right, so guys, Justin said at the very beginning of the video, like, science and Christianity, they have a lot of similarities, and a lot of
Mm.
people refuse to see it. They're ignorant of it, or they just been taught something different, right? Because honestly, the world teaches us that they're both separate and they should stay separate. And
Mm.
the author, Michael Gillian, is one of the top scientists in the world, if not the top. He's like Bill Nye, the science guy, right? Probably even better. I don't know, but
Probably.
so yeah, like when it comes to Christian worldviews and scientific worldviews, like basically he's just trying to say like every worldview connects. It's all goes with the universe, heliocentric worldview, all bigger picture, right? You can't live on a tiny planet and think that only this worldview is it. Like this is
Mm.
it. This is all there ever be. No, that's not absolute truth. That's your little ideal reality, right?
Yeah.
You have to be bigger, think bigger, right? Worship something bigger other than what you think in yourself, right? So that's the point of this video, man. Life doesn't revolve around you. And like I said, man, I hope you guys see it, man. I hope it makes sense. I hope I really made it plain. But I asked everybody at the very beginning of the video, I said, why does the universe revolve around the sun and not the earth? I hope everybody was blessed by the answer, right? And then also I asked, is your worldview geocentric or heliocentric? And this author talked about the consequences of having a geocentric worldview. And at the very end of the book, just in case you don't watch no more videos or read the book, the very end of the book, he was just talking about how, like, as an example, the Titanic, the Titanic was created, the Titanic boat, the movie, it was created and it was advertised that
Mm.
this boat is unsinkable. It will
And that.
not sink. And that was their reality. And that's how some people's realities are. Some people's reality is, I can make it by my own bootstrap, or dog eat dog eat world. Like,
Mm.
everybody got all these different worldviews. Like all black people are thugs and of the devil. Everybody has some type of geocentric worldview. And the author said when stuff hit the fan, he called it a Titanic moment. When the boat sinks in life, he said you figure out that worldview wasn't all that it was hyped up to be. And he
Mm.
said that worldview can lead to your death. It could lead to your demise. It could lead to places you never thought you would ever be. You think people on the Titanic that took it, at that time period, you think they thought the boat was going to sink? No, it was advertised that it wouldn't be unsinkable. They didn't even have boats, like lifeboats or anything, because they knew it wouldn't sink. And as soon as they hit an iceberg, what happened? It sunk. And a lot of people died
Mm. Yeah.
because they had the wrong worldview. And that's what the whole point of this book is. Like, you can't have a geocentric worldview in this world. Otherwise, you're going to die. Right? So,
Yeah.
literally,
Very,
spiritually.
very cut and dry way to put it.
Right. Like, yeah, you'll have the experience of spiritual death. Hell. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, man, you got to have a heliocentric worldview. Think bigger picture. Have your thoughts align with God's thoughts and what he's actually doing. Just like with the sun. Like the sun's doing a lot. I don't know all it's doing. You think scientists know everything the sun's doing? No, I'm guaranteed they do not. Right? Because we don't even know half of the universe. Right? No. We don't even know 90 to 95% of the universe. So obviously the sun probably does other things too. I don't know. Maybe it keeps all the stuff that should be kept away, like aliens or something. But anyways, that's another topic. That's the video. Justin, you good, man? Because I
Yeah,
talked forever,
good.
man.
Yeah, man, this was an awesome topic.
I'm glad you think so, man. Starting to cough now. But anyways, guys, you know the drill. Uh, my YouTube channel, Uplift Past Crossroads. It's amazing. Best YouTube channel ever. Thank you. Thank you if you're subscribed and you support it. Also, playlist on here. God Speaks to Creation. If you enjoyed this video, check out this playlist. It is amazing. Me and Justin have done a lot of videos of just showing how what is God saying through a certain thing in creation. Also, here goes my other social media platforms. Got the best social media platforms ever. Facebook and LinkedIn, Sean Christopher Jenkins. So if you befriend me on Facebook and if you befriend Justin on Facebook, Justin Lee Howell, and you send us a DM, and you ask us any question that you want, we'll do a video on the questions that you ask. Also, here goes Justin's YouTube channel, Chaplain's Logs. Make sure to subscribe to it. Click the bell as soon as after you subscribe, this bell right here, so you're notified anytime he uploads another video. And then do the same thing on my channel as well. Make sure to like, comment, and share every single one of our videos. If you do that, you help our channel grow tremendously. Also, if you want to study and watch more videos on stuff that I learned at seminary school and stuff like that, my experience with seminary school, check out this playlist on my YouTube channel, Uplift Past Crossroads. Seminary school book breakdowns, the book Revelations is when I, talk about all the books that I read and stuff like that in seminary school or in general. And Justin too, he does the same thing. And then also, yeah, so that's all the videos, man. I'll save the rest of the plays for later. All right, Justin, you good, man?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, yeah. So that's the video, guys. Life's bigger than just you, and life doesn't just revolve around you.
Revolve around you, yeah.
All right, so you guys have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Peace out.
Stay blessed.
And if you like the background, let me know.
Oh, I do. Like, I'm well with your suit.
All right.